A very good afternoon to everyone. Am I audible to you all?
Yes.
Thank you. So I would like to welcome you all to this 8th TOCOIndia an online lecture series on the tobacco control in India. I am Dr. Prashant Kumar Singh. I work at NICPR as a scientist, and I am also the nodal officer of the WHO FCTC Knowledge Hub on Smokeless Tobacco. So today's webinar is on very important topic of the protection for the public of the protection of the children for the, towards the tobacco. And we have a very eminent expert, Dr. Nirmalya Mukherjee, and it's my honor to introduce our distinguished speaker. Dr. Nirmalya Mukherjee served as a director of the Center for Public Health Research at MANT, West Bengal. Over the past 21 years, he has led health and development programs, holding a Master's of Social Work degree since 1990 and a Master's in Public Health from Mahidol University, Bangkok, Thailand. In 2019, he earned his PhD in Mass Communication and Journalism with a focus on AIDS communication. Dr. Mukherjee has attended short and executive courses at various esteemed institutions like Johns Hopkins, USA, Adelaide, Australia, Pennsylvania in USA. With over 24 years of experience, he has managed numerous health and development projects and authored over 25 papers in peer-reviewed journals and book chapters. As a technical head of MANT, Dr. Mukherjee leads the Tobacco Control and Community Media Initiative, encompassing the Community Radio Initiative Video and ICT4D, which stands for Information and Communication Technologies for Development. Additionally, since 2022, he has chaired the GBI affiliate Center on Evidence Synthesis and Implementation for Indigenous Health. So please join me welcoming our esteemed guest, Dr. Nirmalya Mukherjee. And before coming to our esteemed guest, I would like to request our Director Ma'am, Dr. Shalini Singh, to say some of her opening remarks on this very important topic that we are going to cover today. Ma'am, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant, and a very warm good afternoon to everyone who's on the this webinar, who's joined us. And I'm sure each one of you has joined because each one of you is concerned about how the tobacco industry is targeting our youth and our children. And all of us want to protect our next generation and our children from the ills of tobacco. And, I know that Dr. Nirmalya Mukherjee has been working for a very long time with the control of tobacco, and he has pioneered a lot of work especially in BD industry, where children are working round the clock alongside with their parents and mostly mothers. So the children are in a unique position to be influenced by the tobacco industry, not only as what they see around them, but also what they see inside their homes and their practices. And when they become a little older, then it's their peers. And they have this kind of a complex as if, that age for experimentation, and they get conflicting messages from the celebrities, from the social influencers. So all this has made the children a very vulnerable section of our society, whom we should protect from tobacco industry. of course, we also know that a lot of nearly 30 to 40, 50% of children, they start tobacco use very early in their lives, around the age of 10 years. And for the case of smokeless tobacco, it is much earlier, as 6 and 7, when they don't even know what is the harmful effect, but they see everyone using it around them, and the flavors and their attractiveness and the addictiveness of the contents force them to use it year on year, day on day. So a lot of countries have actually a policy of ending this tobacco for the next, and not sell the tobacco products to these children who are born after a certain year in their country. So I think it's very crucial for us to understand what are the steps that we can take to protect our children from tobacco. And none other than Dr. Nirmalya Mukherjee. Welcome, and thank you very much for accepting this. We are very keen to hear from you. Over to you. You may have to unmute, Doctor.
Sir, you are muted.
Yeah, sorry. Thank you, ma'am. I must be very thankful, as well as, I must be feeling kind of like, privileged that I would be, presenting this before you, and as well as the august audience that are now available, online. So thank you for, inviting me, and it's a kind of a like, honor for me as well as my organization that we are going to present before you. So I'm going to share my, screen. I think is it visible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Visible, sir. Make it full screen.
Yeah. Just made it full screen. Yeah. It's perfectly fine, sir.
Okay, perfect. So, so I will start with a quote from Dr. Tedros, our WHO Director General. He said that the history is repeating, as the tobacco industry is still trying to sell the same nicotine to our children in a different packaging. So they have been actively targeting the students, the young people with new products. So, but thankfully our government of India has already started to banned e-cigarettes. So that's a good I think initiative, and it should be accoladed, and acknowledged also. But there are certain problems. One is that the adolescent.
Dr. Mukherjee, I think.
Yeah.
Because your voice is breaking, Dr. Mukherjee. Do you think you can use the microphone?
Okay. Okay,
your voice is breaking.
So now it's okay? Hello? Hello?
Ma'am,
Okay, sir.
I think, ma'am, it's at your end, ma'am.
Or you can switch off your video.
Yeah, I'm switching off my video, not an issue.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see if it improves.
Is it okay?
Yeah, it looks better if you can go on.
Yeah. So teen brains are different, that we must admit, and teenager appraise like risk like the similar to the adults, but their power of planning or decision making is still developing, and they are basically very sensitive to the reward. And they are, they are having the greater propensity for influence by the peers, even the people who are usually called as influencers. They are influenced by the normative perceptions. they are targeted by the predatory, industry. So industry is very, very vigilant. They are very, very interested to, to invest monies as well as, more research to lure them. The third one, the last one, that is, the teens are more sensitive to the price. So this is the more, more important for us, because more tax, more price increase, that means less, initiation of tobacco. Sorry. So now the latest report, so that is, the national fact sheet of GYTS4. So it is telling that, that almost, 8.5%, Indian children, they are, having tobacco. And it's sometimes, very, very, problematic because statistics are always, or rather I can say that sometimes, very, very misleading. So if you just, see this graph, it is telling that, that a huge number of, young children from Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal, Maharashtra, Assam, they have been using tobacco. So that is what is very important, but because these states still, I think, Madhya Pradesh, so these states should be targeted with more, concentrated manner. So there are some ray of hopes. So since 2003 till 2019, we have seen the current tobacco users decrease almost by 50%. So that's a very good, I think, initiative. And current tobacco users and boys, who are males, so that is also decreased less than 50%, as more than 50%. Girls tobacco users also decreased a bit. Current tobacco smokers also decreased. Current cigarette smokers also decreased. BD smokers decreased. Not so very high, obviously, but that still it's a problem for us. Smokeless tobacco users decreased, I think almost on 10 percentage points, and exposure to the tobacco smoke at home also decreased huge. So that is what is very important, because social acceptability of smoking at our homes, at our at our area, it's decreasing, and the source of obtaining cigarette stores are also I think we have seen there is a huge decline on that, and there is a refuse to sale of cigarette due to the age. It is not impacted because of our interventions. So that is the alarming one. So this the one thing that we should be very alarmed of this, that that implementation of the law is not up to the mark in terms of refusing the selling tobacco products due to the age. As per the the mean age of smoking initiation, so I read a paper, so it's a very comprehensive paper. Two papers published, and one is in 2012 and one is 2021. And we have seen that that smoking initiation almost 80% before the age of 21. So, and the same thing almost 76% for smokeless tobacco. So initiation, so age of initiation of smokeless tobacco as well as smoking is almost 76 to 80%. And the key concern of this, that that the human brain is still continuing to growth, and the nicotine is very is a kind of like a neurotoxin, and that damages the the developing brain. And early smoking initiation increased the amount of smoke, and make it more difficult for them to quit, because they are more habituated with the nicotine. And early initiation means more time to tobacco consumption, and that means more risk to be infected with the diseases. So the most important was this primordial prevention. So we have seen that that almost 30% tobacco users, they attempted to quit, but around 5% they they could be able to quit tobacco. So around 5% means if we can stop them before 21, so it would be a huge success for tobacco control in India. So that's why we have been proposing that, the 21 should be the, the legal age of, sale of tobacco. And this will, be very, very helpful because we have seen in other countries of the world that, that this very strategy is very, very effective. And it's also proven to the work because, people who have not used tobacco by age of 21 are unlikely to ever to use. So that is what is very important. And second one, that is also very important, that more than 90% of parents support this. So even I think, it should have been, 99%, because none of the parents like me, like any other one who are here. So you can also, say like this, that we don't want that my children, would be, using tobacco and would be the tobacco users in the future. So that is what is very important for us. And it's an impressionable stage, and experimentation is a part of, adolescent life. We cannot change it, but they have a lack of skills to resist. So that is what is very important. And they are also vulnerable to the marketing and social influences. So that is very important. So I want to show a small video.
Dark clouds gather, fill the sky.
So we should be very cautious. We should be very cautious about that. And the tobacco industry sees them as an attractive new markets because, they are calling them as the replacement smokers. And they also know it very well. So they researched it very well. They also know that, that smoking or tobacco use basically, it's a beginners as a symbolic act that I am no longer mother's child. I'm tough. I'm an adventurer. I'm not square. And they said that, that as the force from the psychological symbolism subsides, the pharmacological effect takes over to sustain the habit. So this is what is very important. So if they started with a kind of a, experimentation, and after that, when the pharmacological, effect takes over, then it would be, a lifelong affair. So that is very, very, dangerous thing. And the industry, they are very, very, very cautious that, they have been terming this very group of people as replacement smokers, because they are the, I think, new kind of group of people who would be the tobacco users for the next 25 years. So that is what is very important. And industry documents, it has been clearly mentioned that if a man has never smoked by age of 18, the odds are 3 to 1, he never will. By age of 24, the odds are 20 to 1. So this is what is very important, that, they also know it very well. And we must, thwart this kind of, industry tactics through our various efforts. So late 1999, so tobacco companies, they placed they already shared a kind of like kind of like I think paper with the tobacco sellers that they should keep the tobacco products in front of at the eyesight of the children. So that is what is very, very problematic for us, because the eye level, child's eye level, adolescent's eye level. So they are keeping the tobacco products in a way so that it would be easily seen, and it would be easily available to them. So that is kind of like tactics they have been employing, and they use this kind of tactics on a regular basis. So one example I can give, this is from Bulgaria.
They went down to him, they run away, dancing easy to stay. They don't say when they say to stay. They don't say when they say to stay. They don't say.
So the answer is lies with us, and there is a huge concern for us that because there is a causal relationship between tobacco advertisement and promotion with the increased tobacco use, especially among the youths. And we have seen that the study conducted by Vital Strategy that the tobacco industries and have been using the social media for marketing their products. So this is a concern for us. The second concern for us is that that OTT platforms are now acting as a as a tobacco promotion platform. So that is another one concern for us. And the industry they are camouflaging, trying to be camouflage their tactics in a way that they would like to deliver a smoke-free future. So it's a kind of a hypocrisy, but the reality is completely different. So the reality is that Philip Morris is trying their best to to reach out to the young people in India as well as in other parts of the world, and it is quite obvious that they haven't changed its spots. And their industries document what we have seen that that they are telling us that these are the ineffective regulations. So one is that the advertisement and marketing restrictions are not effective. Then they, as per their understanding, that that public place smoking restrictions are not effective. Health warnings are not effective, while they are saying that that effective regulations are like plain packaging, point of sale display bans, excessive health warning sizes, and ingredients bans. So these are the things they have been trying to tell us. But I think we all know that these the things that I have already mentioned, that advertisement and marketing restrictions are effective, public place smoking restrictions are effective, as well as health warning labels are also effective. But they have been trying their best to tell the people, especially the people who are at the helm of the affairs, that these three are not effective one. And their roadmap is very clear. So in 2000, they have come up with a roadmap. So British American Tobacco. So they said that that today's reality is like that anti-tobacco or anti-smoking movement is having the public opinion with them, and they are alone. So and now what would be their what do you want to achieve? So then they would like to achieve public opinion with them so that they can counter the anti-smoking movement. So this is the counter strategy they have already planned. And now if I look for another one aspect, that is point of sale advertisements. So this is the picture of of Calcutta streets in 2017. And we came to know that this is the policy guidelines of the Kolkata Municipal Corporation area, that there should not be any advertisement of tobacco items or tobacco products. So in 2017, we persuaded the Kolkata Municipal Corporation, and they sent the letters to almost all the tobacco companies to remove their boards. But what happened? So almost on a 1 day notice, so they changed the this kind of boards, but only the names are not there, but illuminated board is still there. The colors and everything remained there, and they have come up with this kind of small boards as well as posters, so that it could be easily propagate. So this is what they have been doing. The same thing happened over here also. Just see, they haven't changed anything. Only thing, they removed their names, brand names. And they are also very very much involved in this kind of awards or kind of promotion on the cigarette packets. They have been this thing they have been giving this, especially in the area where they which can be termed as low SES. So they have been doing this thing on a regular basis. So they are giving the sponsorship, gifts, prizes, and scholarships also. So another one aspect that we have already reported to the government. and thankfully the government has taken action also. The second one that also we must be very very vigilant about that high density of tobacco vendors. In many a part of the country, the tobacco vendors density in certain parts where the children are congregating together, so the are very alarming one. So we have seen that in Calcutta almost 223 vendors per square kilometers. So this is what is very problematic, and especially we have seen that almost 90% schools are having tobacco vendors within the 100 years of their vicinity. So this is another one problem that we have been watching, noticing, and industry is basically favoring the tobacco product development and marketing in a way that that it should be a highly appealing one, and they are trying their best to normalize the tobacco use, and that is quite obvious because that they have been sponsoring in many way. They have been using the films, they have been using the posters and everything, so that that the tobacco use became very normalized one. The third thing that is very important, that is segmented. They are very strategic in their approach, because they have already segmented the market. So they have a different products for the women. They have a different kinds of advertisement for youths. So they have a different types of appealing or appeals for ethnic minorities, even for the vulnerable populations. So they have a different types of modus operandi to reach out to them, and they have a targeted product design and communications also. So this is another one aspect that we have seen in the past. So this is the one kind of that I have seen this in various countries. So I just copied it from there, and it's a very interesting to see that they have a different types of messaging. In our country we have also seen this. So the tobacco products package is basically the primary vehicle via which the brand information is conveyed to the tobacco users. And in our country, I am thankful to the government again, because this 85% pack warning is very effective. But for tobacco products like cigarettes, but in many BD, or as well as smokeless tobacco products. So the industry, they are not complying with the regulations. So that is a concern for us. The images, colors, and text are very appealing, and they used it to promote the distinctive and appealing brand imagery. So you just see that the mild one, or that where they have been using kind of like flavored one. So they have a different packaging features. So this can be distinguished because of the tobacco sub brands. And this is also very useful, because we can identify which brand is this. Just one example I can give, that that you have seen that that though the brand names are not there, but after watching this point of sale advertisement, you can well understand that which brand they have been trying to portray. The third one that is also very important, that they provide information about the consumers, the which target group should use this tobacco products. So for women, so they have a different one. The youths, ethnic and racial minorities, so they all have a different types of products for them. And another one, I think another one important one, that that universal tobacco advertisement restrictions are now in effect in India. So we must be thankful for this. That the communication targets for the children, so they have a different kind of strategies. So from the tobacco industry documents, we came to know that that they are saying that that there is a nicotine reward, that means pleasure and reward would be there for them. Flavors would be very interesting one. So bold, rich, spice, fresh, this kind of words they've been using. You can also see this from their advertisements on the packets. Then other chemosensory effects like smooth, cool, impact. So these things are there. Then health risk. So they are also trying to communicate that this is a light one, this is a mild one, there is a filter. So filter select is one that you can use, and it would be it is not very very harmful. So these things are going on. And then, they have been also trying to, speak about, freedom. I choose, it's mine, be true. So this kind of, coinages they have been using on a frequent basis. Then the identity things should be there. So demographic profile like youths, I am representing this geographical area. So all these things, even the affiliation also. So that is what is very important for them. And the colors. So colors are, sensory informations are conveying the colors, being conveyed by the colors. So like red is very, very stronger one. Then green, menthol one. So the blue and silver, the lights one. White or, color gradations, the degree of lightness. So if you just, read this kind of, industry documents, it's very easy to understand that they have been, they have been doing research for on a regular basis, and they have been coming up with this kind of things, this kind of tactics on the basis of the evidences they have gathered. So one example I can give that, that this industry, they have clearly mentioned that these features are necessary to communicate the taste and attributes of the cigarette to the consumers. So this is kind of like industry document that has been published in 2010. And what I have already told you, that social acceptability is very high. So one of the famous character in Bengal, investigator Bomkesh Bakshi, so he's having cigarettes. So you won't find any pictures of or any posters of Bomkesh Bakshi without a cigarette in his hand. The same thing in for Feluda. So another one, the most I think the most important character in our life in childhood is Feluda. So the creator of he's the creation of Satyajit Ray. He's also having cigarette in his hands in almost all pictures. The same way Mrinal Sen, one of the famous film director. Now the second one that we must admit that the CSR is also very, very tobacco company CSR is very effective, and they are trying their best to reach out to the people by using their CSR funds, and to be and to portray them that they are very, very socially responsible or companies. But the government of India already identified or already notified that that they should not use the or they should not contravene the provisions of any law or provisions of the COTPA. So, but still it is going on. So just one example that that Sunehra Kal, one program by ITC. So this is being promoted, and so it is being published by by or in front in the presence of various government, as well as people from various international agencies also. So we have worked with the government, and the government is also coming up with this kind of notifications or protocols for 5.3. So I think many states already use that. So there is the next one, that is the restrictions on tobacco usage in films. So we all know that that anti-tobacco health spots, and even in the OTTs are now it's a mandatory. So thank you the government, thank you Government of India. But the tobacco industry is very, very tactical in their moves. So they have come up with new things that elaichi or this kind of things which are not available in the market in most of the cases, but you will find it with the same name of tobacco products, and these are being promoted by the celebrities of our country. It's a sad thing, I must say. Now, what Shalini ma'am was trying to tell us that that child labor is very, very prominent in bidi industry. So if you just I can share many photographs with the women with the child. They are rolling bidis, and it's a very dangerous one. But that we have seen this is a common practice, and this is going on for long. And the children, especially the girl child, so they used to roll bidis along with their mothers, and they're supporting their mothers or grandmothers, and they start to roll the bidis, and their schooling, as well as nutrition, as well as their reproductive functions are being hampered. And this is what is a very big problem for the country. And it's a kind of a like I think dual burden for the girl child, because they could not go to the schools. So they are not going to be going to have a required education, while their vicious cycle, like, they would be again employed by the BD industry as a worker, as a BD roller. So this thing would be there. And their next generation would be would be falling prey to this very tactics. And tobacco industry is knowing that very well, but they are not doing, they are not trying, they're trying their best to say that that they are not going to involve child labors, but it is not the case. In most of the cases we have seen this. And lastly, I must say that that it's a multifaceted problem. So developmental stages are there, then the pharmacological effects that I have already told you, then the sociological context is also there, and obviously the psychological behavioral aspects are also there. So that is what is very important. So PMI, they are coming up with they have a consensus group, and this consensus group is promoting or they have come up with the research results with this kind of figure. They said that that they should focus on product, so that the product design, the physiological things, the properties, nicotine, and any the others one, the environment, so regulation, cost, then the persons, so genetics, gender, geographical locations, health status, so all those stuff, and the response would be the exposure, so disease risk and positive desired results. So these are the things are very important stimulus for them. And what we have, what we must understand that that denormalization is 10 times more effective for quitting than inerty. So we must be very, very cautious. We must be very, very strategic in our approach, that we should focus on denormalization of tobacco use in the country. What is the difference between not being addicted and being addicted? So it is like difference between seeing the world as your birth or seeing the world as your age. So if you want to be engaged, then you just use the tobacco. So that is what is very important thing to note. Now the question would be what would be the freedom? Whatever freedom. So, but what we must understand that the stricter tobacco control will lead to a more equal distribution of freedom, because what Tony has said, that the freedom for the pike is the death for the minnows. So that is what is very important to note, and we must counter this kind of concept of freedom, and that this is our freedom, this is my freedom to use tobacco. It should not be in a way that we should not address that. We should also focus on interpersonal freedom. So inequalities in the probability of taking tobacco, like the socioeconomic status, like income and education, occupation, then geographical factors like urban and rural, regional disparities, like different like in West Bengal or in Madhya Pradesh or in Kerala. So there is a geographical disparity that should be understood, and accordingly we can plan in a better way. Then the cultural and social influences, like peer influence, cultural norms, then the gender differences, like male, female, women, and smoking is also very important thing. Sometimes we have seen that that they have been using various indigenous products. So, and these are not seen by the others, because it's so very ingrained with our cultural things, with our so-called normal living. So we couldn't understand that this is also going on. So this is also very important, because the girl child, they also started very early stage with this kind of indigenous tobacco products. The age is also very important, because the age of initiation, as well as youth and adolescent, they have a different types of ideology as well as problems. So that would be clearly understood. Then the cultural beliefs are also very important. In many a place that we have seen that that tobacco, water, as well as other indigenous products are basically part and parcel of our religious things. That is what is very important. Now, inequality in the probability of becoming addicted. So that is another one aspect that we must understand, that we should give more focus on income and education. Then stress and coping mechanisms. So that is what is also very important. Access to resources. In most of the lower SES, you won't find any access to the smoking cessation or tobacco cessation practices, making it harder to quit once you addicted. Then the mental health in low SES is a huge problem. So if people are suffering from depression or anxiety, so it is likely that they would be addicted to tobacco. Nicotine can temporarily alleviate some symptoms, leading to a higher dependency. So that is what is very important. Then social and cultural factors like peer influence, I have already told you. Then the cultural acceptance in various cultural things that we have seen that that tobacco use is very encouraged, very much encouraged. And last one that I must admit that nicotine delivery methods. So it might be chewing tobacco, it might be smoking. So this is what is we must be very, very cautious about. And obviously taxation, so price rise. So now what works? So the price rise, what I have already told you, that increased tax means more price, more in that means the prices of the tobacco product will be higher and affordability would be less. In most of the cases, we have seen that that like bidis or chewing tobacco, they are cost around only 5 to 6 rupees. Even the tobacco bidi companies, they are coming up with the pack of 6 bidis with the plastic packets. So this is completely non-compliance of the law, but still they have been doing this because they would try to make it very, very affordable to the people who haven't started, or those who have started, they can be still remain dependent on tobacco products. So this is what is very very, very problematic for us. Then the denormalization of tobacco use. So smoking should be or tobacco use should be prohibited in public places. Then the counter messaging of the public acceptance of smoking. So this is another one aspect. Like that we have seen in the past that that when the in the past that we have seen that that women are basically washing the clothes. When we have seen last I think 8 years back, we have seen one male started to wash the clothes, and this is the kind of a ignition of the mind, and the people started to realize that it is not a gender stereotyping, that this kind of activity can be done by our household chores done by the male also. So in the same way, we must come up with this kind of shocking kind of a messages that can lead to the more public acceptance of or dealing with the or addressing the public acceptance of smoking. Then the health warning levels, so we have I think enough, and that is what is very important. Every 2 years it is being renewed. So this is more important. We must be thankful to the government for this initiative. And public health communication, we have seen that in many cinema halls, as well as the even in between the news or entertainment channels, as an advertisement, the public health communications are going on. But still we can also do more, and there is a scope for doing more in various languages, especially languages that are being used by the racial or minority people. Then the prevention intervention among youths, like the toffee guidelines should be implemented. So in its letter and spirit, what the government of India has propagated, and I must be thankful that this is being promoted like anything in the country right now. So this is very important thing that we are also watching very with much more interest, that how this toffee guidelines after the implementation would be effective in in addressing the youth and adolescent tobacco use. And then evidence-based cessation interventions. So now in every district we are having the cessation interventions. So by as part of the National Tobacco Control Program. So now what would be the regulatory strategies? So first of all, that that we must make the product less appealing. So the packaging should already, we have Government of India already come up with this regulation of the packaging one. And then the second one would be the more effective communication around the health risk, that what would be the what would be happened if you use the tobacco products. So this is what is very important, and it should be very simple and strong messages. Then influence of social norms and correct normative perception should be promoted, and restrict access, increase price. So tobacco 21 or internet sales should be completely banned, and there should be a kind of a consensus. And this concept, this tobacco free generation, So it's a proposal that advocates that a legislation that precluding the sale and supply of tobacco to individuals born after certain years. For example, a person below the age of 18 years or a citizen born or and after 1st January 2015 or 2025, so that that this kind of tobacco free generation would be propagated, and after 18 years, within 18 years, would be able to completely ban the tobacco products. So there should be a target group so that we can have a tobacco free generation in the future, even in our lifetime. So I am always thankful, I am always dreaming that in my lifetime, in our lifetime, we will see that there should not be any tobacco products, and the children are living with freedom, and they are living without any addiction. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a insightful, presentation with the combination of all the sort of, communication, be it videos or other means. And thank you for also covering the entire, gamut of the topic, which actually talks about how the tobacco being actually, promoted among the children from various channels and means by the tobacco industry's own, design, which we call now days like, social or the community acceptance. So I actually consider this as a very well articulated, design which has been imposed on the society for past 100 years or so, and then now we are actually abiding by those so-called norms. I would like to actually share with you a very recent example where I came across how this has been actually happening in at least in India. So I saw the last recent this third series of the Panchayat, which is actually considered to be the one of the most well seen, well articulated, well designed, with a very family oriented OTT movie. But as soon as I started with the first episode itself, what I was struck and I was actually taken aback is that for first 2 to 3 minutes, it was all about the smoking, which was actually demonstrated by the main actor, which we call as a I guess I'm actually Sachiv Ji or that people. So for the first 2 to 3 minutes, the entire producers, creators, intellectual was actually just stuck with how effectively they can actually show up the smoking in a various moods. So on that note, I have been now actually very critical about the Panchayat series as well. So okay. So now moving on, we are now into the Q&A session, and here we have a few questions being asked by the participants. So the first question was by Dr. Vasantha, who actually asked that selling tobacco to less than 18 years children is against the law or not?
I'm not getting your point. So selling tobacco products before the age of
she actually wanted to ask that whether selling the tobacco to below 18 people are legal in India or not?
No, it is not legal. It is illegal. It is non-compliance of the Section 6 of TOTPA, and it may the person may be punished, and even for under Juvenile Justice Act. So under Juvenile Justice Act, it's a punishable offense, and so more it can be leading to 7 years of imprisonment and 1 lakh of rupees fine.
So the next question is from Sanjay Namdev, and he actually asked that the surrogate advertisements and the products are playing major role for attracting children. How we are taking it to stop?
See, it's a very difficult, thing that, that we have some loopholes in our, legal structure, and, so these very products are being, registered as a non-tobacco products, and with the same name. So I have seen that, the Tatas, they have already, registered as both the tobacco as well as non-tobacco products, registration, so that, no one can use the Tata, name for tobacco products. So I think, this is what is very problematic, and we don't have any, ready-made answer for that. But, and obviously I must admit that, that whenever the IPL happened, and I always think that, that almost, 1 to 2 crore new, tobacco users started to, use tobacco, especially the youths. So how they have been, aggressively promoting their products, by using various means, like, not, using the, kind of like, or rather I can say that they are camouflaging their names, and they have been using this thing on a regular basis. So this is a problematic, and we don't have any ready-made answer for that. But obviously, for any surrogate advertisement, we should start it to campaign that this thing, like, in our case, we have been, using our, own postering campaigns. That is, this is the same thing. This is the same, tobacco product. So don't be falling prey to this.
So thank you again. So the next question is from Sudhir, and he actually asked that what measures do you suggest to negate the normalizing and segmenting approach adopted by the tobacco industry? Could you share a few examples of the segmenting approach of the tobacco industry?
Yeah. So one is that, that if you just, watch their, posters in front of the, or rather I can say the area where women were majority working, or in large number they have been working. Like one example I can give in Salt Lake, that is in Calcutta, where the major IT hubs are there. So you will find that, that these very, tobacco companies, they have coming up with the posters, just besides their main, main gates, or as well as, the small santry shops. And they have been coming up with the messages that, that if you want to look very attractive, sexy, and you can also look very, very nice, so you can use this tobacco. So this is what is they have been trying to do. Again, second one that we have seen that, they have been trying their best to, to focus on a gender perspective, that why should boys have all the fun, kind of a like, messagings they have been trying to portray. And they use this kind of, things, so that, the women be on a like, same way they can also use the tobacco products. So this is what is they have been doing on a regular basis, number one. Number two, for youths, so they have been focusing on, the adventure, like, that you are not mama's boy, you are a different, thing, you are now grown up. So these things are going on a regular basis, even like what you have said, that, that main actor of Panchayat, web series, Jitendra Kumar. So he has been using tobacco, so and smoking. So they have been glorifying this one through this kind of, portraying. So they have a, they have a, tendency to use the, most important characters that are being followed by the groups of adolescents, or, youths, to be the, their, promoter. So this is what is they have been trying to do on a regular basis, even for, minority areas. So they have come up with the religious pictures also. So this is another one aspect that we must, we must counter.
So the next question is from Mr. Sanjay, and he asked that, sorry sir, the toffee is only the agenda of NTCP or health department for a better implementation. it should mandatory for education, a higher education department. Good presentation, sir. Thank you.
Toffee should be, as I have already told you, that's a multifaceted one, and we must be very, very, strategic in our approach, and we should understand that it's a hydra-headed problem. So tobacco problem or tobacco menace or tobacco harmfulness of tobacco, it's a hydra-headed problem. So one department cannot do it, and we have to have a wider coverage, wider partnership, so that the health department would be the focal point, obviously, but the education department as well as the police and all the other departments that are related to implementation of COTPA. So they should be working together in tandem, so that that we can reach out to the people effectively and can stop tobacco use, and we can reach our desired I think objective, that is that there should not be any tobacco use by the adolescents in the future. So I must admit that you are right, that it should be owned by education department, it should be owned by the health department, but the health department only cannot do that. So health department should be given the partnership support from the education department, and education department should support this initiative, because more or less tobacco use, means more better results in education, in the exams, so that we all know, and that should be promoted. So I think education department should understand that that if we can promote no tobacco use in the vicinity of a educational institution, that means better result, better environment, and there will be less kind of like illness episodes, so that that school should not be bunked by the students or the teachers.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We are now through with the question and answer sessions. Now I would like to request Shalini ma'am, if ma'am have some final remarks on this entire presentation. Ma'am, over to you.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Nirmalya. It was, I think, a very engrossing and lecture, and very interactive also. A lot of questions came in. Can you switch off if you're not speaking? Yeah, okay. So so it's very engaging, because I think the young people, the children, they are sort of the future generation to come, and if we are not able to protect them from the harms of tobacco industry, it's not only that they stop at tobacco, then they're also going to get into other kinds of addiction, like alcohol and others also. So it's if we stop them from, one must realize that if we stop them from one kind of addiction, we are taking care of the others as well. Not only that, we are also inculcating in them healthy habits and healthy practices. So I think these TOFI guidelines are so important, and like each one of us has been, we have children and or some children in the family. And that if we are going to meet the teachers or the school principal, we must try and enforce this sort of, at least start talking to our teachers of our children, that how this is about what are TOFI guidelines. We can give them a sort of a pamphlet or something, so that we start some kind of a movement, at least where our children are studying. And, lo and behold, when you see that one school is following this kind of a pattern, the others also follow that. So somewhere, I think it's a whole of a community approach that has to be applied. We can't just leave it to the government departments to enforce it or actually initiate it. Something is there which we can do ourselves as well. So in our own residential areas where we stay, where our children study, so at least in those places, we can initiate such kind of a thing. So, very engaging talk. Thank you, Dr. Nirmalya. And if we can have any other suggestions on how to move forward, and we will be happy if our people who are here on the in this webinar, they are sort of wishing to visit our center and contribute. We'll be very happy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
And with this, we are now at the end of this webinar, and I would actually extend my gratitude to all the participants, and particularly to our esteemed speaker, who has actually spared the time and the efforts in today's session. So thank you once again for attending this webinar. Have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.